everyone, how's it going? Thanks so much for tuning in. For today's video, we have an incredibly rare opportunity to check out the BMW 850CSI. It's got a V12 engine, 5.6 liters, rear-wheel drive, and a 6-speed manual transmission. This is going to be a lot of fun, and I hope you guys enjoy. In this review, we'll start it up, show the engine, get an exhaust clip, and go over the performance data, take it on a thorough drive, and show you many of the unique aspects throughout the interior as well as exterior. Before I begin, I'd like to extend a huge thanks to my friends at Cosmo Motors in Hickory, North Carolina for providing this opportunity today. For more information about the dealership, including contact info and current inventory, please feel free to check out their website provided in the description box below. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on in, start her up, let her run. When the 8 Series, commonly referred to as the E31, first made its public debut in 1989, it ushered in a new era of technology, style, and performance for BMW. While some may think it served as a direct replacement for the E24 6 Series, which ended production in 1989, in reality the 8 Series was a far more prestigious car, a clean sheet design from top to bottom. Positioned higher on the totem pole than the 750i sedan, it was BMW's flagship between 1991 and 1997 in North America and up to 1999 in the rest of their markets. It also represented one of the most expensive BMWs ever offered for sale up to that point. Out of the 30,000 plus units sold worldwide, less than 8,000 E31s found their home in the United States. Just 225 of those were CSIs. To me, the 8 Series was the definitive luxury coupe of the 1990s. It has an unmistakable and timeless look that's elegant, purposeful, and full of character. When the 850i launched for 1991, it became the first V12 powered car that was available with a 6-speed manual transmission. There were some updates in the following years, including a slight change in naming, but the biggest news was the introduction of a new entry model and the range-topping CSI. In 1994, there were 3 models of the 8 Series to choose from, including the $73,140 V8-powered 840CI, the $94,150 V12-powered 850CI, and the $108,450 850CSI. With an overall length of 188.2 inches, a width of 73 inches, and a height of 52.8 inches, the 850CSI is longer, wider, and lower than the E24 M6. Along with shorter front and rear overhangs, it also rides on a longer 105.7-inch wheelbase. Development for the 8 Series actually began in the mid-1980s, when CAD software was still a relatively uncommon design tactic. BMW took advantage of this technology and created a body with a remarkably low drag coefficient of just 0.29. It's smooth, curvy in all the right places, and still looks fantastic to this day. The pop-up headlamps in particular were an all-new design that combined the low beams, high beams, and even the fog lamps, all within their narrow housings. The 850 CSI builds upon the regular 850 by significantly boosting performance, handling, and driver engagement. After all, the 8 Series was a heavy car to begin with, one that carried you with silky smooth acceleration and quiet road manners. While that's still true for the CSI, it now reflected the heart of a sports car. An M8 was considered at some point, but it never made it past the prototype stage. While the fabled 550 horsepower monster never came to fruition, the CSI was in fact developed by BMW's M division. Cosmetically, the CSI differentiates itself from other 8 Series by a unique front fascia with a deeper front air dam and a larger intake. The side sills are more pronounced, and the rear fascia is also unique, incorporating a diffuser panel underneath the fascia and 4 polished exhaust tips. The BMW Motorsport scripts on the door handles are exclusive to US cars, while Eurospec cars received their own restyled side view mirrors. CSIs came exclusively with these silver-painted 17-inch forged aluminum wheels, shaped in a way to draw air in for enhanced brake cooling. Measuring 8 inches wide in front and 9 inches wide in the rear, they're wrapped in 235/45 and 265/40 tires respectively. The wheels on a regular 850 measure 16 by 6.5 inches, so the CSI not only has a larger footprint, but it also allowed for the fitment of 30mm wider rear tires. With all of the chassis enhancements, the CSI was able to hold 0.9 g of lateral acceleration, notably improved over a regular 850. The brakes on US cars consist of 12.8 by 1.2 inch internally ventilated discs in front and 12.5 by 0.5 inch solid discs in the rear. Together with single piston calipers at each corner, they're able to bring the CSI to a stop from 60 miles an hour in 135 feet. ABS is standard, as is stability control. Traction control also came standard just as long as you specify the manual transmission. Steering is provided by a recirculating ball power assisted setup that takes just 2.8 turns to lock and has an overall ratio of 15.4 to 1. The turning circle is measured at 37.7 feet. Along with having faster steering, the CSI also benefited from ZF's Servotronic Vehicle Speed Sensitive Power Assistance. Even though I haven't had the pleasure of driving any other models in the 8 Series line, the handling and feel of the CSI is downright impressive for a car that weighs just over 4,200 pounds. The steering is very accurate and performs without hesitation. Weight builds up naturally through the corners and it doesn't take much effort to perform quick maneuvers. It feels more nimble than its curb weight would suggest. Then again, it's not a sports car, but it's the dynamic nature you'd expect from a BMW. Like all 8 Series, the CSI features a fully independent suspension that consists of McPherson struts in front and a 5-link design in the rear. Other changes over a regular 850 include shorter springs, stiffer dampers, new front hubs, and a half-inch drop in ride height to give it a more planted feel on the road. These, plus the revised steering and updated wheel and tire package, is the collective magic behind what gives the CSI a big handling advantage over a regular 850. Even with the added stiffness, the ride quality is very good. It feels solid and substantial, filtering out most road imperfections to keep things tight and smooth. The regular 850's optional adaptive dampers were not available for the CSI. In Europe, the CSI also featured a 4-wheel steering system with upgraded brakes, a rear differential oil cooler, and an engine oil cooler. The CSI, like the regular 850, packs a single overhead cam V12 with an aluminum block, aluminum heads, and 2 valves per cylinder. That's pretty much where the similarities end, as engineers thoroughly reworked the engine to increase output by 76 horsepower and 70 pound-feet of torque. For starters, displacement was enlarged from 5 liters to 5.6 liters, and the compression ratio is raised from 8.8 to 9.8 to 1. Other changes include revised camshafts, larger pistons, a freer flowing exhaust system, more aggressive valve timing to support high RPM performance, and a new engine management system. With 372 horsepower at 5,300 RPM and 402 pound-feet of torque at 4,000 RPM, the CSI is able to accelerate to 60 miles an hour in a brisk 5.3 seconds and fly past a quarter mile in 13.9 seconds, both of which are about a second quicker than a regular 850. Top speed is governed to 158 miles per hour. Originally, BMW offered the regular 850 with either a 4-speed automatic or a 6-speed manual transmission. Later in 1994, a 5-speed automatic replaced the 4-speed. With a clear focus on performance, the CSI was only offered with a manual. Power is sent to the rear wheels through a limited slip differential. The CSI also has a shorter 2.93 to 1 final drive compared to 2.65 to 1 in a regular 850. Driving any car powered by a V12 is a treat in itself. The CSI's transmission is smooth and effortless to operate. Plus, with so much torque on board, it doesn't really matter what gear you're in. Plant your foot down and the CSI will get up and go without a fuss, reducing the need to downshift. It's also worth noting how quiet it is. The interior is hushed and refined with little to no wind noise. The unique V12 melody never gets old, but I can only imagine what it would be like if BMW had fitted a slightly more aggressive exhaust system to it. To the left of the shifter, there's a small switch labeled EML, which allows you to adjust the sensitivity of the drive-by-wire throttle system between two modes, comfort and sport. The new engine management system I mentioned earlier varies the engine's maximum RPM based on which gear you're in. It allows you to really take advantage of how quickly the engine was able to accelerate off the line. On a regular 850, peak engine speed was limited to 6,000 RPM in all gears. With the CSI, first and second gear to rev to 6,400 RPM, while subsequent gears had progressively lower limits. The CSI carries a 23.8-gallon fuel tank and requires the use of premium unleaded. EPA fuel economy estimates range between 11 miles per gallon in the city and 19 miles per gallon on the highway. The expected average is around 13 miles per gallon. So now let's go ahead and see how she sounds, both sitting still and on the road. But first, let's go ahead and get a cold start. With less than 30,000 original miles, this is probably one of the most well-preserved examples of an 850 CSI that you will ever see. I always get excited when I see older cars taken care of to such a high degree, but this was incredible. For one, it allows everyone watching to really see what the car was like when it was new, but it's also a testament to quality engineering, especially when you look at the richness of the materials used and the attention to detail. The interior is so well made. Everything is either wrapped in soft padding or supple leather upholstery. Genuine wood trim adds an appreciable level of warmth to the interior, and everything is focused around the driver. It's significantly more modern than the Porsche 928 GTS, and in my opinion a more cohesive design than the Mercedes-Benz SL600 that focused on more flowing lines and a sportier feel. The Lexus SC400 also had a beautiful interior that placed a high priority on comfort and ergonomics, but none of the competition came close to offering the level of technology that BMW did for the 8 Series. Both of the front seats are not only heated, but they also come with full power adjustments. The driver's side gains 3-person memory that also ties in the power tilting telescoping steering wheel. The seats are very well ratted with firm padding across the sides for extra lateral support and good cushion across the middle for long-term comfort. There's excellent lower back support, fixed headrests, and the seat belts are built into the backrest. This natural grain Nappa leather was offered on other 8 Series, but it came standard on the 850 CSI. It was the softest, most supple leather you can get. I also really like the gathered look. Storage space in the 8 Series is limited to a handful of small pockets. On the driver's door you have a little chain storage that pops out, which is pretty cool, but on the passenger side you have a locking glove box, and that's pretty much where the majority of your space is going to come from. What's also pretty cool is there's two cup holders built in. They're not the strongest things in the world, but it's definitely handy as you don't have any across the center console. For its day, the 8 Series was built to be a very safe vehicle. Along with a solid structure and a handful of driver aids tossed in, there's a driver and passenger airbag. Like I said, BMW packed the 8 Series with a ton of technology, especially the CSI. In the center console, you have a very comprehensive driver's information system. There's a 12-speaker audio system with AM/FM radio, cassette deck, and a trunk-mounted CD player, as well as a dual-zone automatic recirculating air conditioning system. As you can see, a cellular phone was also available. There's a little bit of extra storage towards the back of the console. Up top, there's an auto-dimming rearview mirror, and a sunroof came standard. The headliner is wrapped in a suede-like material. Of course, you gotta love BMW's very simple and comprehensive instrument cluster. The needles are red in the CSI. While there's a bunch of room up front, probably the biggest downside to the 8 Series is that it doesn't have a super practical back seat. Now, if you can sit back there, it's pretty comfortable because there's basically two buckets. There's a big console across the middle, it's all wrapped in leather, so it's a really nice place to sit. But most of the time, it's probably going to be used for storage, and if you need to stow some longer items, you can actually fold the back seat down and extend your trunk space. Again, the gathered leather is a really nice touch of detail, and you have reading lamps. When you open up the doors, the side glass rolls down by about half an inch to help clear the door frame, while the trunk latch out back is electronically actuated. Now, that's pretty commonplace nowadays, but both of those features were quite advanced for the early 90s. Out back, you have 11 cubic feet of cargo space in total, and the trunk is all lined in soft velour, just like the rest of the interior carpet. Underneath the trunk floor is a spare tire, there's a CD player out back, and mounted on the trunk lid itself is a roadside assistance kit. Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed this rare opportunity to get an up-close and personal, in-depth look with the BMW 850CSI. Be sure to stay tuned next time, there's always a lot more where that came from. Take care everyone.